In the midst of the century-long conflict over waste, which had plunged the world into perpetual darkness, two heroes stood in the path of the Dragon Lord, prepared to unleash their combined power to defeat the catastrophic beast. However, when the valiant prince was felled by a mysterious arrow, he had to abandon his heroic aspirations and risk his life to save his son from being devoured by the S-rank calamity. Yet, his son's body was imbued with the divine energy of the gods, and he spent his life wandering alone, never realizing that his dormant dragon form would one day awaken, allowing him to rival even the gods. Upon arriving in the town of Linsakai, the guard was so repulsed by his ugly face that he allowed him entry. Hiro observed the arrival of a wealthy merchant named Nambuko in his Tesla Cybertruck, and the impoverished townspeople struggled to catch all the money he threw at them. He attempted to retrieve the coin, but a chubby youngster snatched it away from him. Hiro overheard the boy's companion cautioning him not to take any money from Nambuko, as he was a greedy arms stealer. Despite this warning, Peggy slipped into the car for freebies, and Hiro joined a group of tourists to hear the tale of the warrior who rescued the princess from the dragon. The warrior claims to have inherited the weapon that the warrior used to win battles, but Hiro couldn't inquire about the price, as a young scout snatched it from the knight before he could. However, the knight's bodyguard apprehended the boy, so Hiro intervened to prevent him from being crushed by the ogre. He offered the knight some gold for the magical item, expecting a response of gratitude, but the boy was too young to express his thanks. Hiro was astonished when a young man told him to leave, claiming that they and their friends would have stolen a large sum of money if not for his bravery. He swiftly grabbed the item and fled, but Hiro managed to track them down and appeared like Batman, introducing himself to the young thieves. Their leader introduced himself as Tome, but Hiro retrieved the treasure from him, stating that it belonged to him since he had purchased it. Then he leapt out the window. Meanwhile, Nambuko's henchmen visited the Duke of Linsky, demanding he sell his magical items at a discounted price or they would hunt down his family. The Duke warned that his citizens would be upset if they learned about the deal, but Nambuko used a crystal ball called the Grand Troy to hypnotize him and make any wish come true, including capturing the thief who attempted to steal it. As Tome and his team pursued Hiro across rooftops, they heard that their friend Peshet had been captured. They halted their game and went to find him. The next day, Peshet was brought to the town for execution, but Hiro stepped forward and told Sherry to back off, as she was a bad person. She ordered her soldiers to attack him, but Hiro defeated them all without even drawing his sword. No, he did not. Shocked by her hard flex, Sherry shot a lightning bolt at Hiro using her magical wand, but he emerged from the explosion and sliced through her guards with a single slash of his blade. The men noticed that his armor was still intact, and when Sherry realized that Hiro was just using a fake sword, she ordered his soldiers to tear him apart. But at that moment a huge warrior appeared and destroyed all the guards, allowing Hiro to escape with her friends. And Jiru, Hiro's true mentor in the art of swordsmanship, inquired as to why he had fled his home. Sherry, growing impatient with their lengthy conversation, picked up the crystal ball, ready to embark on a reckless adventure. Hiro recognized the object as the weapon his father had used to vanquish the dragon years ago. He urged her to return it, but Sherry disregarded his plea and used the crystal to amplify the power of her magic wand, unleashing a devastating blast at Hiro. The foolish man stood there, unmoving, waiting for the flames to consume him. But the blast suddenly deflected, and everyone was astonished as the malevolent dragon Lord Dagon emerged from the shadows. Enraged by the creature that had slain his parents, Hiro attacked the dragon. But Dagon intervened, stunning Hiro until he lost consciousness. The dragon began to ravage the city, but Nambuko reveled in the chaos, seeing it as a lucrative opportunity. Even the combined firepower of all his soldiers was insufficient to defeat the beast. As arrows rained down on Hiro, Dagon surprised everyone by shielding him with his wings and instead targeting the guards. Destroying everything except Sherry's rabbit-like ears, Dagon retreated into the shadows, and the Duke accused Nambuko of bringing a catastrophe upon their city, ranking it as an S-class disaster. However, Nambuko argued that the dragon's return would instill fear and respect for them as their duke. While assisting him in earning money from weapon sales, Jiru takes Hiro to Tom's hideout for arrest. While they wait for him to wake up, Jiru shares the story of how Dagon killed Hiro's parents. Their continent of Canaan had 3 kingdoms within it, and because of the terror caused by the Dragon Lord, all of the countries agreed on a safe place in between their lands to imprison the beast forever. However, despite having such an amazing plan, the warriors were still no match for the Dragon Lord. So both Hiro's parents and all the wizards were consumed by the soul-devouring flames of Dagon Zot, just as Jiru was done with the story. Hiro woke up from his sleep saying that he wanted to kill the Dragon Lord, but Tomek called him a Delula Queen for thinking that could defeat a huge monster like that with his E-rank skills. Hiro told him that he had spent his entire life training for the day that he could avenge the death of his parents. But Tomet said that he should get his money back because he fought like a Disney princess. Peshet said that they used the Grand Troa to make Dagonza disappear, but when Hiro asked Tomet for Nambuko's location, all he said was that Nambuko liked to travel a lot to different cities so that he could sell weapons. Hiro declared that he would not rest until he had found Nambuko and defeated Dagonza. But along the way, Jiru said that they should return home because they didn't even know where the hell they were going. His butler, Palupa, asked him to return the money that he had borrowed from him. But when Palupa noticed that his gold coin was missing, Hiro told him that he had used the coin to buy a magical batch. Annoyed by his stupidity, Palupa threatened to cut him up and sell all of his organs to replace the lost cash. So Hiro quickly ran away with Jiru to avoid getting sent to an early grave, and while he was chasing them around, Sherry wondered why Nambuko had left her alone and traveled to another city, so she decided to FaceTime him using her iPhountain. But when he picked up the call, Nambuko told her to stay back and look for the kid that was saved by Dagonza, because he already had a lot of hot bitches to grill up his winner during the ride. When Palupa had finally calmed down, Hiro said that they should get something to eat, but none of the restaurants wanted to let them in because of what happened between Hiro and the Dragon Lord. The guys were already getting pissed off when a hot beast girl with watermelon plots agreed to help them out, and she took them to a nice restaurant where they had some roast beef for lunch. The girl said that her huge melons were also on the menu, but the guys preferred peaches, so she decided to get their attention by saying that she knew all about Hiro and his family of warriors. Surprised by this statement, Hiro asked her how she knew such a thing. But the cat girl just said that her name was Erin, before walking out of the restaurant with a steak in her hand. Palupa told the waiter to give them their bill. But when Bowser Jr. realized that Erin had tricked him into paying for her meal, he got angry and swore to get his revenge someday. Palupa blamed Hiro for their misfortune, and he said that they would have to sleep outside for an entire week. But Hiro took them back to Tomat's hideout, asking him if they could stay at his place for a while. However, Tomat didn't like the idea because he felt like Hiro and his gang were trouble. But when Peshet reminded him that they're the ones who had saved his life, Tomat agreed to let them stay for just one night. While everyone was still sleeping, Jiru stayed up all night sharpening his blades, and when they woke up the next morning, he surprised the guys by cooking up a 5-star breakfast. Hiro said that it was time to resume their journey towards finding Nambuko, but Jiru told him that he wasn't ready to take on the big bads just yet and that he should continue training instead. Jiru began Hiro's training by taking him out to battle against some slimes. But Hiro was so useless that he couldn't even defeat these low-ranked creatures, and he said that his sword was too small for the task. Jiru told him to focus on his skills and not the sword, but Hiro kept on losing more aura points against the slimes, and Palupa said that they would be better off selling him as a slave at the local market. However, Jiru had faith in his student and he said that he was going for a quick hunting trip. But while Palupa was busy counting his money, a huge sand dragon appeared right behind him. Wanting to redeem himself, Hiro jumped up to attack the dragon, but his sword had no effect, and Palupa told him to run away instead. But the dumb **** started giving a heroic speech like Optimus Prime. The dragon opened up its mouth and Palupa was terrified that he was about to die a virgin, but they were shocked to see that a girl was already inside, and she thanked the creature for giving her a free ride. After the dragon had gone, the girl walked up to Hiro and suddenly placed her head on his chest, saying that she loved the sound of his heartbeat and that they should get married right away. Palupa told him to reject her offer because she was obviously a red flag, but the girl said that her name was Serato and she continued to rizz up the lame protagonist, saying that his eyes were prettier than a golden sunset. Jiru arrived right on time to stop the idiot from falling in love with a stranger, and he was just about to pull out his sword when Palupa said that they should just quietly walk away instead. On getting back to the hideout, Hiro just sat down thinking about Serato that he forgot to even eat his food, and when Tomet noticed this, he teased him for turning into a lover boy so easily. Hiro said that he felt bad for leaving her alone like that, but Tomet told him to cheer up because she could always meet new people along the way, just like how he and his crew members met each other and became best friends. Meanwhile, on the streets of Linsakai's, Sherry and her goons searched around for anyone who knew where Hiro was, but they found nothing, so Sherry decided to use her magic mirror instead. However, Serato walked by at that instant, causing the mirror to malfunction because of her strong magical presence, and she used her powers to find where Hiro and his friends were staying. Tomet was surprised to see Hiro's crush in their hideout and he asked her how she had found the place, but Serato ignored him and turned her attention to Hiro, saying that the both of them were meant to be together. Tomet told the lovebirds to get a hotel, but Hiro said that Serato would be staying with them for the time being, and he dragged her inside while Jiru and Palupa frowned at the fact that Hiro was now a simp. The following day, Palupa escorted Jiru to sell some of the animals that he had hunted, but they were surprised when the shop owner gave them 3 silver coins for the wild beasts, because they needed money for equipment. Jiru said that he was going to keep hunting more animals. But while all of this was going on, Hiro was busy trying to impress Serato with his useless skills. He still failed to kill any of the slimes this time around, but Serato didn't care about all of that because she was so blinded by her love for the talentless moron that nothing else mattered. However, all the slimes suddenly started to leave, and when Hiro looked up he saw a huge demon wolf staring down at them. But instead of running away like the scared little P*** y that he was, Hiro stayed back to fight the creature. Despite all his confidence, Hiro still got bodied by the wolf, but when he noticed that it was about to attack Serato, he charged straight at the wolf and knocked it down by smashing his sword on its forehead. He rushed over to make sure that his girl was okay, but when Serato saw the large cut on his shoulder, she quickly used her divine hands to heal the wound and fix up his shirt like nothing ever happened. Although he was shocked by this ability, Hiro thanked her for healing him, and when they got back to town, they traded the demon wolf at the local market for a single piece of gold. Along the way they saw a guard pulling a man away from his family, and because he was still feeling high over his first win, Hiro stepped forward to help the man, but he got captured as well. Realizing that the inmates were being made to work like slaves at the landmines, Hiro told them not to worry because he had a plan to bust them out, but the men knew that they were all screwed. When Tom had heard about what happened, he and Serato crawled their way through an underground passage to enter the Duke's house, while Hiro kept trying to make a hole through the wall using his expensive badge. Hearing strange noises, the Duke decided to open up his safe to check it out. But he was shocked to see a large hole inside, after which Tomet and Serato suddenly appeared in his office. Tomet threatened to expose all of his deals with Nambucco to the king, which would ruin his life forever, unless he released Hiro and all the other inmates that he planned on turning into slaves. The Duke just smiled before calling his guards to arrest the imposters, but then Jiru walked through the door and pointed his sword at the Duke's face, causing the loser to sh** his pants. He finally agreed to release Hiro and the others, and when Hiro saw that Serato had come to save him as well, he turned to face her, ignoring Tomet and the guys who had risked their asses for his freedom. Sherry heard the news about Hiro's arrest, but by the time she arrived at the Duke's palace, Hiro and his crew were already gone, and all the inmates finally got reunited with their families. Remembering the good times with his own parents, Hiro swore to make them proud someday by killing Daejinzot, and when they got back to the hideout, he and the guys celebrated their victory with a huge dinner. However, the next morning Hiro wasn't happy with the squid pudding that Jiru made for breakfast, but Paolupa told him that he had no choice but to eat the squid after spending all of their money on a useless item. Jiru reminded him that their combat training continued today, and he said that Serato was not allowed to tag along this time around, so Hiro was forced to leave her behind at the market. While she was looking for something cheap to buy with her gold coin, Serato met Iron for the first time, who took her out to a famous hot spring where they could relax and talk about boys. Velenplot said that the spring water could heal all kinds of wounds, and she told Serato to take her clothes off before entering. But Iron was pissed when she noticed that Sherry was already inside. Meanwhile, Hiro was fed up with the fact that Jiru only ever told him to fight slimes, and he said that he would be better off training on his own until he could defeat Dagonzot using the Grand Troa. But Jiru told Hiro that even the crystal ball couldn't save him at this point because he was just a pathetic little weakling, and that Dagonzot would snap his bones so easily like a pair of chicken wings. Annoyed by this statement, Hiro ran forward to attack his master, but he got bodied like a new, and Jiru told him to just quit because there was no way that he could ever defeat him. However, Hiro got up again, pointing the blade at his opponent's neck this time around, and Jiru had no choice but to defend himself by slashing his heavy sword on Hiro's chest. When the other guys saw what happened, they called Jiru a traitor for attacking his own student. But Jiru said that he was going to fix everything by taking Hiro to the healing hot spring. Meanwhile, Eren was trying to ask Serato some questions about Hiro and his crew, but the girl was dumber than a rock. And when Shari got bored of being on her own, she swam across to join their convo as well. Eren asked her why the hot spring wasn't filled with lots of boys like before, and Shari said that everyone got scared after hearing that a giant squid monster lived inside the waters. But when Eren tried telling her to sit next to them to avoid getting a cold, Shari got pissed and told her to stop making other girls jealous with those oversized cannonballs on her chest. The guys arrived at the hot spring, and Jiru told the others that he was only trying to test how serious Hiro was about his revenge, and that he never planned on attacking him in the first place. The water immediately started to heal Hiro's wounds, and when Shari noticed that her target was nearby, she got excited. But Eren knew that she had to stop the little witch from capturing Hiro. When the moron finally woke up from his coma, Jiru apologized to him, saying that he was only trying to make him a better warrior, and he agreed to let him continue the journey towards finding Nambuko. However, Shari's guards were trying to force the sea monster into capturing Hiro and his friends. But when Squidward got out of the water, he grabbed Serato and tossed Shari away like a piece of garbage instead. Hiro was worried about his dumb girlfriend, but in a flash, Jiru jumped up and sliced the squid into large sushi bits, while Hiro rushed over to make sure that Serato was still alive. When they got back, Hiro and the guys sold the monster at the market and used the cash to buy more weapons. But just as they were about to leave, Tomei shocked everyone by saying that he wanted to tag along. Hashade and the others begged him to stay, but Tomet said that he wanted to assist Hiro in acquiring the Grand Troa so that he could use it to wish for a better life for all of them. Impressed by his selfless heart, Hiro agreed to let Tomet join their team. But along the way, they met Eren, who told them that it was Shari and her men that sent the squid monster after them at the hot spring, asking if she could join their crew. Palupa and Jiru strongly refused, but when Eren said that she knew how to find Nambuko, Hiro forgot all about her past crimes, and he said that she could tag along as well. As they journeyed across the lonely desert, Tomet and the other guys were pissed at Hiro for acting like he was the boss, but Eren said that she respected for letting her join the team. While the moron was acting all tough, he fell into a pit of quicksand, but unknown to all of them. Nambuko and his squad were spying on their adventures using Special Eagle drones. The gang passed through a large canyon where Tomet was too scared to make it across to the other side, and they all stopped by a waterfall to see a beautiful rainbow in the sky. Jiru picked up some berries for them to eat, but then they were suddenly ambushed by a giant eagle. And because he wanted to prove his worth to the team, Hiro foolishly rushed forward to fight the beasts. However, Hiro got his ass kicked by an angry bird's character, so Jiru was forced to scare the creature away with his sword, and he said that they should set camp in a forest for the night. Tomet was worried that Mighty Eagle would show up again, but Jiru said that the forest was their best bet at a safe shelter, and Hiro kept acting like the leader despite his minus 1,000 aura points. Tomet and Palupa dried up the meat to make them last longer, but when Jiru noticed that Serato was nowhere to be found after leaving to fetch some water, Hiro agreed to go search for her by the river. He found Eren playing music by the moonlight, and when he asked her why she had chosen to join his team, Melon Plot said that she was going to use the Grand Troa to wish for the hottest boyfriend that ever existed. Hiro left her to be with Serato, and while they enjoyed the starry night, Nambuko was busy stacking up some M's by selling weapons to all the leaders of the different kingdoms. He ordered a meeting with Shari, calling her a brainless rabbit for letting Hiro and his friends escape, and he said that he was giving her one last chance to prove herself and bring Hiro to him. As usual, Captain Face marched forward to face Shari without a second thought, but she made him regret his decision by blasting his entire body with a huge surge of electricity. She quickly followed the attack with an ice storm which broke Hiro's sword in half, and when Jiru tried helping him out, he was stopped by one of the giant rock monsters. He managed to defeat the creature by stabbing its eye, but Palupa knew that the rest of them had no shot at survival, so he summoned an Easter bunny named Mumu to get them out of there. Tomet didn't like the idea of leaving Hiro and Jiru behind, but Palupa wasn't ready to die just yet, so he threw him and Serato into the treasure chest before jumping in as well and teleporting to another place. Shari was ready to destroy Hiro once and for all, but then Jiru ran forward to stop her, so she trapped him in a dark energy force field and split the ground in two to keep him far away from them. Shari said that she was going to kill Jiru for ruining all of her plans in the past, but when Hiro heard that, his body suddenly began to change, and he smashed Shari's wand away before transforming into a badass demon. His whole body was covered in purple flames, and Shari ordered her men to attack him, but Demon Hiro wiped them all out in an instant. And Shari quickly teleported back before he could rip her to shreds. After she had left, Hiro became unconscious, and he dreamt about drowning in a dark abyss where his demon powers were all that existed. Until he finally woke up in the middle of the desert. He heard some large footsteps approaching, and Hiro quickly hid behind a boulder to avoid getting spotted by Nambuko and his men. But he still couldn't get over what had happened during the fight with Shari. He decided to follow Nambuko around for some answers, but when Mumu transported Palupa and the others back to the battlefield, they were shocked to see that Jiru was badly injured. Using her divine touch, Serato was able to heal Jiru a little, but when she asked him to tell them where Hiro was, he ran to the edge of the cliff, and they saw all of the soldiers that Demon Hiro had defeated. The guys were shocked that Hiro had beaten up all these guards, especially because he was a talentless loser with no sword skills, and they wondered if he had somehow cheated his way into getting magical powers. However, Palupa was annoyed at Eren because she was always just vanishing whenever things got bad, and he promised to teach her a lesson by stuffing her large melons into his mouth like a jawbreaker the next time that happened. Meanwhile, Hiro secretly followed Nambuko to a testing site where he showed a customer his latest invention by using a machine to fuse the body of a monster and 3 humans into a hideous hybrid. The creature charged straight for them, but Nambuko's guards quickly took it down, and the Duchess praised him for his work, saying that she couldn't wait to test out the weapon, seeing how he had killed those innocent men. Hiro couldn't hold back anymore, and he got out of hiding to face Nambuko, who told him to fuck off because it was none of his business. He was just about to pull out his sword when he realized that Shari had broken it earlier on. So Hiro decided to fight Nambuko without a weapon, but he got out-whooped in less than a minute. He told his men to capture him, and when they got back to the village, Nambuko made sure to keep the Duchess busy with a couple of male servants before walking outside to meet Shari. She apologized for not capturing Hiro herself, saying that he had turned into a scary demon at the last minute. But Nambuko told her not to worry, and he gave her a huge bag of cash to thank her for trying. Jiru and the others saw the dead hybrid on the ground, but when Jiru noticed the familiar logo on one of the weapons, he realized that Hiro must have been captured by Nambuko. He tried struggling to escape, but Nambuko arrived with a bag of tools, saying that he was going to torture Hiro and watch him scream until he had told him all of his secrets. Asking him what he knew about the Dragon Lord, Hiro responded saying that it didn't concern a dumb merchant. But Nambuko told him that the chaos from Dagonzot's return would be good for his business. He placed the dagger on Hiro's arm to make him answer correctly, but then Nambuko was interrupted by the Duchess, who complained that the servant boys he had assigned to her were terrible and dead. Hiro was glad that his arm was still intact, and he managed to wiggle his feet out of the rope before using the special badge that he bought to cut through the other restraints. But when Nambuko's head scientist Dr. Bafalapa arrived to inspect the room, he noticed that Hiro smelled a lot like Serato, so he asked him if she was still safe and alive. Although he was shocked at how the old man knew Serato, he said that she was alright, but Lapa kept asking him more questions, so Hiro told him how Serato had placed her head on his chest the first day they met. He listened to Hiro's heartbeat to confirm if he was lying, and when Lapa realized that he was telling the truth, he began to freak out, but Hiro used that as an opportunity to cut the last rope that was holding him back. He ambushed the old man and tried squeezing his neck, but Lapa threw him away like it was nothing, and he told Hiro to take care of Serato because the both of them were destined to be together. Hiro said that there was no way he could keep her safe because he was currently Nambuko's prisoner, so Lapa gave him a magical potion that could transport him to whatever location he imagined. He drank the potion while thinking of Serato, and Hiro's body began to glow with a magical aura before vanishing into the sky and landing in front of Jiru and the others just as they were about to go look for him. When Nambuko returned and he realized what Dr. Lapa had done, he got angry and pointed his dagger at the old man, but decided to spare his life because he would need him to make more weapons in the future. Hiro and the gang took shelter at a cave which Eren identified to be an abandoned gold mine, and he told them everything that Lapa had said to him while he was still captured, picking up a familiar scent on his shirt. Serato said that Hiro smelled just like Dr. Lapa, and when he asked her how she knew the old man, she surprised him by saying that Lapa was her dad. Everyone was confused by the family drama, but Jiru changed the topic, saying that there was a possibility that Hiro was carrying Dagonzot's heart, which would explain why the Dragon Lord had protected him earlier. Jiru said that the heart switch must have happened when Hiro's dad tried saving him from Dagonzot's flames, which meant that he had actually transformed into a dragon on the day that they fought against Shari. Hiro couldn't believe that he was carrying the heart of the creature that killed his parents, and he ran out of the cave in frustration. But Jiru and Palupa quickly arrived to cheer him up. They reminded him of the time when he was a little boy and how he would always bend down to cry whenever something bad happened. But Hiro said that he couldn't remember any of those memories. However, Palupa pointed out that he was doing the exact same thing right now even after all these years, just like when he lost his parents and refused to be part of the funeral. He also told him that Jiru had been secretly studying magic for the past 10 years in order to figure out what actually happened to him on the day that his parents fought the Dragon Lord, because of the love and respect that they had for him. Jiru and Palupa promised to always protect him from danger, and Hiro said that he would never give up until he had defeated the Dragon Lord. They continued their journey through the forest, and Palupa was upset that Eren had ghosted them for the 3rd time. But Serato was happy that she could listen to Hiro's heartbeat once again. Tomet tried telling him to activate his dragon form, but Hiro said that it was for emergencies only. And while they argued, Shari used a giant eyeball to monitor all their movements. Arriving at an abandoned village, Palupa said that they should rest a little before moving on, but Tomet noticed that there was something strange about the town, so he walked into one of the houses to investigate. As Jiru walked around the village, he started having flashbacks about the time when he was a little kid and both of his parents were killed by a mob of angry villagers. His father was an over who married a human, and because the other overs were not happy about this union, they captured the both of them and hung them to death while Jiru watched and cried. He ran away from home and was about to die in a lonely desert when Hiro's father, Lord Barrow, found him and brought him back home to become a big brother to Hiro. Tomet kept searching the house until he was ambushed by a hybrid monster, so he rushed back to tell the others, but Hiro was unable to help out because he didn't have a sword. The monster charged straight towards him, but luckily Jiru was right there to block it with his sword, and he tried slicing the creature in half, but the hybrid dodged his attack and knocked him out with a flying kick. Swamp Thing jumped forward to attack Hiro, and Tomet advised him to activate his dragon form. But when the loser tried channeling his inner dragon, all he got was a little sandstorm instead. The hybrid was about to tear him apart when Jiru suddenly appeared and slashed its gut with his sword, causing the creature to fall down, and the red color in its eyes to fade away. Meanwhile, Eren took a trip to Nambuko's place and Shari thought that she had come to visit her, but when it was finally time to meet him, she ditched Shari and walked inside to sell some information to Nambuko. She told him that Hiro was carrying Dagon Zot's heart and that his father was Lord Barrow, so Nambuko promised to pay her for the intel, and he gave her a seashell telephone for them to keep in touch. However, when she had gone, Nambuko told Shari to come inside and he ordered her to kill Hiro once and for all. But unknown to them, Eren had heard their little combo using the seashell telephone, and when she got back, Melon Plots wondered what to do with that information. While Hiro argued with Palupa about getting a fancy new sword, but the stingy turtle said he had to go for something basic instead. They booked hotel rooms, but Palupa didn't pay for any food services, and when Tomet asked him how they were supposed to eat, Palupa said that Jiru would prepare their food inside the room to save money. Hiro went out with Jiru to shop for a new sword, and after choosing a couple blades that were out of his league, Hiro settled for a medium-sized sword that Jiru helped him pick out. They stopped by the market before heading back, and while Jiru picked up some food stuff, Serato pointed to a moon trinket at a jewelry shop. But Hiro was shocked when the seller said that it cost $100. Hiro wondered if he should give up all of his money to make her happy, but because Serato knew that her boyfriend was a broke-ass dude, she lied, saying that she was happy with the gold coin that he had given her earlier. Jiru met up with them when he was done and they all went back to the hotel, but unknown to them, Eren was at a nearby shop purchasing some deadly arrows to use for their next big fight. They settled down to enjoy Jiru's cooking, and Tomet noticed that Serato hadn't touched her food at all. But Jiru reminded Hiro about how Dr. Lapa had told him that he would someday meet Master Theo, and because no one else knew who he was, Jiru told them that Master Theo was once a magical instructor to Hiro's father. And Serato shocked them by saying that Master Theo was also her friend. Confused by the weird connection, they all agreed that the best thing was for them to meet Master Theo as soon as possible, and everyone went into their different rooms to sleep for the night. However, while Tomet and Palupa were sleeping peacefully, Hiro and Jiru had trouble falling asleep, and Jiru said that he always had to stay awake to make sure that everyone was safe. Hiro told him that he hadn't been sleeping much ever since the day he found out that he was carrying Dagon Zot's heart. But then Jiru heard an explosion outside and he quickly got up to check it out. A mysterious shadow monster was blowing up houses around the neighborhood, and Hiro rushed over to see what was causing it. But he was shocked to discover that the creature was actually Dagon Zot. The Dragon Lord began devouring the souls of innocent villagers, and Hiro took out his sword to help them. But Jiru blocked his path, saying that a fight with Dagon Zot right now would be too dangerous. Hiro insisted that he was ready, but Jiru pushed him aside before smashing the shadow with his sword, and although he got a direct hit, Dagon Zot began to swallow him up as well. However, Shari appeared from nowhere, saying that she was the one who had summoned the creature, and that it wasn't actually Dagon Zot but a shadow beast invented by Dr. Lapa known as Daku. Serato tried running over to help Hiro defeat the creature, but she was stopped by an explosion along the way, and Dr. Lapa was happy to see that his precious daughter was still alive. Shari told Daku to devour Jiru, and then she used her staff to transmit a crazy amount of electricity to his body while he struggled to stop the weapon from stabbing his heart. He was too weak to stop her though, and the staff pierced right through his chest. forcing Hiro to let go of his human self and activate his powerful dragon form in order to stay alive. Shari quickly hid behind her guards because she knew that she was no match for Dragon Hiro, and Juru wanted to help but he was still stuck, so Eren used one of her arrows to blast the shadow and set him free. And then suddenly out the ground Dagon Zod emerged, which made Nambuko very happy. But when Juru rushed over to save the young warrior, Hiro used his sword to slice him down in an instant. Satisfied with all of the chaos that he caused, Dagon Zod returned to his underground lair. But when Hiro switched back to his human form, he cried bitterly knowing that he was the one who had killed Juru. However, Serato and the others managed to patch him up and take him back to the hotel room. And while Palupa was trying to prepare breakfast, Tomet rushed over to tell him that Juru had woken up. Hiro was so happy to see his mentor alive and he apologized to him for what happened. But when Juru smelled the disaster that Palupa was cooking, he told the turtle midget never to enter a kitchen in his life again. Palupa started crying because of all the onions that he had sliced, and both he and Juru told Hiro not to feel bad about what happened because it was clearly a mistake from using his dragon form. Asking her if she could heal Juru, Serato said that her powers only worked on minor injuries, so Hiro told Juru to continue resting so that his scars would heal faster. But Juru said that he had something very important to say and he told Hiro to stop using his dragon powers because he was at risk of losing control and turning into a dragon someday. Hiro was shocked to hear this because it meant that he could end up becoming the villain that he was trying to defeat. But Juru said that Master Theo could help him control his powers and then he fell back into a coma. Palupa tried buying some medicine from Mumu to cure Juru, but when the bunny insisted that the drug was $1 million, Palupa got pissed and he told her to go f*** herself. Tomet suggested taking Juru back to the healing spring, but Palupa said that it was too far away. And then Eren suddenly appeared in front of them saying that she knew a special plant called Seraphiria which could heal Juru. She said that the plant was located in a canyon not too far from their location. So Hiro and Serato went out to retrieve the plant while Eren and the others stayed back to watch over Juru. Meanwhile, Nambuko's business continued to boom as all the countries were purchasing weapons on a large scale because they were terrified of getting attacked by Dagon Zot. After she had failed to kill Hiro for the third time, Nambuko locked Shari up in a cell with nothing but a pet lion to keep her company, and she was about to go crazy from having nothing to do. Back at the hotel, Palupa was trying to sort out their expenses when Tomet said that there was something strange about Serato because he had never seen her laugh or eat before. He said that he was suspicious of her because Shari always knew exactly where to find them and Dr. Lapa was Serato's father, which meant that she might actually be a spy sent to destroy them. However, Palupa told him to chill out because all that mattered now was for Juru to get better. And when they got to the canyon, Hiro and Serato searched around for hours without finding anything. They were suddenly ambushed by a giant frog, and because Hiro was a p***y just like Serato's plot sandwich, he grabbed her and ran away instead of fighting the weird preacher. They fell into a hole on the ground after which rain started to pour down and Hiro was just about to lose his mind when Serato pointed out that the plant they were looking for was on top of a hill. While Hiro struggled to get the plant, Eren told the others that Nambuko was trying to kill Hiro by all means, and when Tomet asked how she knew this, Eren said that she had heard it using a special seashell telephone. According to her, Nambuko was trying to figure out the connection between Hiro and Dagon Zot because if he learned how to summon the dragon Lord Aquil, he could easily become the richest man alive by selling weapons. Besides all of this, Eren said that Nambuko was tricking the countries into hating each other so that they could buy more of his weapons, and that this might lead to a deadly war very soon. She told them to think of a plan fast because a war between the three kingdoms meant that traveling would become way harder, and this could stop Hiro from getting the Grand Troa and defeating Dagon Zot. Meanwhile, Hiro kept trying to yank the Seraphiria herb out of the hill, but the plant just wouldn't budge. Then suddenly the ground started shaking, and they realized that the hill was actually a giant tortoise. The tortoise tried throwing Hiro off balance, but he held on to the Seraphiria herb saying that he wasn't going to give up. And just as he was about to fall down, Hiro got back up and pulled the damn plant out of the tortoise. However, he got carried away and slipped off the tortoise, landing right into Serato's arms. And to distract her from that weird moment, Hiro said that this was the first time he had ever seen her laugh. When they got back to the hotel, Hiro gave Juru the medicine they had made using the Seraphiria plant, and he instantly got better, so Tomet went outside to call Peshaite, and the others using Eren's seashell foam. Juru thanked Hiro and Serato for saving his life, and he said that he was ready to get back to work. But Palupa told him to sit his overacts down and enjoy his new and improved chicken soup. When he got back inside, Tomet said that Peshaite had told him how all the foster kids and Linsakais were being captured and taken down to the mines to dig out magical stones for the Duke. With tears in his eyes, Tomet said that he was going to get the Grand Troa so that he could help his friends get a better life, and to his surprise, Serato started crying as well. The next day, they all journeyed to the holy mountain of Garako to meet Master Theo, and Hiro felt like it was a waste of time. But Juru insisted that he had to do this before fighting Dagon Zot. However, Master Theo suddenly appeared in front of them saying that they should have brought gifts when coming to visit him. So Palupa and Juru bowed down to apologize and introduced themselves to the wizard. But when he recognized Serato, Master Theo ignored all of them and went over to hug her. While Hiro almost turned into a vampire out of jealousy from watching the old man stroke his girlfriend's hair, they followed him back to his cave where Juru told Master Theo about Hiro's powers that were gotten from Dagon Zot's heart, and he asked the wizard to advise them on how to handle the situation. Master Theo used his finger to release Hell's Inferno right inside the cave, and he said that it was just an imitation of the soul-devouring flames which Dagon Zot had used to destroy all those heroes many years ago. Master Theo said that he had no advice for them, but Hiro got pissed and called the old man a fraud, saying that if he was powerful then why didn't he help his parents defeat Dagon Zot? However, the wizard told him that not even 100 mages were strong enough to defeat the Dragon Lord, because Dagon Zot's powers came from the gods and so no human could match his strength. Despite all of this, Master Theo agreed to train Hiro, but when they got outside he told Juru to get him some meat from the forest and said that Tomet should get him fresh water from the lake. Aaron walked away to avoid getting any chores, and when it was time for them to train, Master Theo told Hiro to do some weird exercises like walking in a straight line and squeezing a piece of paper. And though Palupa trusted in the wise wizard's judgment, Hiro had a hard time figuring out how all of this was supposed to make him a better fighter in time to battle against Dagon Zot. Master Theo told him to throw the paper away, but Hiro didn't want to because Serato's face was on it. And when Serato walked over to see the picture, the wizard noticed that there was a strong bond between the both of them. Meanwhile, Erin sat down on a nearby hill to get a better signal on her seashell telephone, and she overheard military agents from each of the 3 countries saying that they were ready for war. Back at the training ground, Master Theo told Hiro to pick up a stone and throw it anywhere he wanted. But when the stone landed on the ground, the wizard noticed that it glowed with a magical blue aura. He said that life was just like that stone on the ground, but while Palupa and Serato praised his wisdom, Hiro told the old man to cut the crap and teach him something useful for once. So Master Theo said that they should do some sword training instead, and with a single wave of his hand, the wizard blasted Serato's wand into the sky using an invisible weapon known as the Koku Blade. He told Hiro to try out the Koku Blade for himself, and although the Dumbak thought that nothing happened, his invisible sword move was able to slice a tree stump behind Master Theo. The wizard praised him for using the Koku Blade on his first try, and he told him to keep practicing his stance. Then Juru and Tomet arrived seconds later with the food and water for everyone to chow down on. Later that night, Master Theo called Juru for a private chat asking him why he had made Hiro believe that he could actually become a skilled swordsman, when the boy was obviously just a talentless noob. However, Juru said that it was the only way to make him confident for the journey ahead, and that despite Hiro being a pathetic weakling, his determination alone was enough to make him succeed. Master Theo thanked Juru for being a nice mentor to Hiro, but he told him that Hiro's true potential was actually in magic and not the blade, because no mere mortal would be able to carry Dagon Zot's heart for this long. He told Juru that while they were training earlier, Hiro's Koku Blade Slash was so strong that he almost had to put up a defensive spell against it, which meant that he was a magical prodigy just like his father. The wizard also said that Hiro could possibly become a dangerous warrior in the future, but that to avoid this, Juru should make sure that he and Serato stayed together no matter what. The next morning, Master Theo told Hiro that in order to complete his training and leave the mountain, he had to slash him with his Koku Blade from a far-off distance without moving a single step, and because he wanted to move on with his journey, Hiro agreed to take the final test. But when he slashed his invisible sword at the old man, nothing seemed to happen and Master Theo just pretended to take the hit. They all said goodbye to Master Theo before walking out of the mountain. But what Hiro didn't know is that his Koku sword slash was actually so strong that it had shattered the old man's shield to pieces. They journeyed through a forest and a farmland before reaching a place called the Mort Desert, and Juru said they needed to cross this desert in order to reach Nambuko's castle. However, they were suddenly ambushed by one of Nambuko's eagles, and although Juru was able to defeat the giant creature, Tomet wondered how Nambuko always knew where to find them. But at that moment, they heard Nambuko's voice calling out to Eren from her seashell phone, and they realized that she had been the one selling out information to him about all their moves. Jiru and the others were disappointed at Eren for ratting them out so easily, and when they asked her why she did it, Eren said that her job was literally to make money off of other people's information. With nothing else to say, Hiro and the gang went on with their journey into the desert, leaving Eren behind. But Miss Melon Plots felt like they wouldn't survive a single day without her help. Back at their HQ, Shari agreed to morph with her pet lion just so she could please Nambuko, and although one of the guards told her not to, Shari said that her entire life belonged to Nambuko. As Hiro and his crew walked deeper into the desert, they started to feel weak because of the massive heat wave, and when it got dark, they almost froze to death due to the cold desert night. They continued their journey the next day in the middle of a sandstorm, and Hiro noticed that they were out of water. But Palupa fell into a sand pit that was occupied by a giant desert spider. Jiru threw his robe down for Palupa to hold onto, but the sand was too slippery for him to climb up to reach the robe. And Hiro stopped Tomet and Serato from jumping in as well. However, someone threw a rope into the pit, and when Palupa looked up, he was shocked to see that it was Eren. And she told him to refer to her as Madam Eren if he wanted to make it out in one piece. Desperate to stay alive, Palupa did as she said, and everyone helped to pull him out of the sand pit. But Hiro was still pissed at Eren, so she told him to bring her back because they would all be lost without her guidance. While they were talking, a huge sandstorm blew in their direction, and although they tried to outrun it, Hiro and the others were blown away to different parts of the desert. Palupa ended up with Eren, and when he asked her where the others were, Melon Plot said that she had no idea, but that they should go to an oasis before they died of thirst. Jiru ended up with Tomet, who was about to faint from sweating too much, while Hiro and Serato continued the journey together without knowing where any of their friends were. Later that night, Hiro started shivering because of the cold, and when Palupa woke up the next day, he looked around to make sure that it was not just a dream. But when he saw Eren next to him, he realized that they were truly stranded. He saw an insect creating water droplets from the surrounding air, and Palupa tried doing the same, but Eren told him that the bug was only able to do so because its body had no heat. They met up with Jiru along the way, who said that Tomet could become unconscious at any moment, and so Eren told them to follow her lead to the oasis if they wanted to live. Meanwhile, when Serato saw that Hiro was about to die from a heat stroke, she changed into her birthday suit and channeled her inner Tyla to make her body produce water for him. What do you mean by that? With Eren's help, Palupa and the others found the oasis, and Jiru quickly fed Tomet some water to keep him alive. But Hiro and Serato were suddenly ambushed along the way by Shari the lioness. Serato tried to protect her boyfriend, but Shari kicked her ass and teleported out of the desert with Hiro. While armies from each of the three kingdoms gathered around to begin their war, Shari returned with Hiro, and Nambuko said that he was the key to unleashing chaos into the world. But Hiro didn't give a shit about all that, and he told Nambuko to hand over the Grand Troa. However, Nambuko told him to come and get it, so Hiro charged forward to strike him with his sword. But the merchant held him back by pointing his blade at Hiro's neck. He told him that they've met before, and when Hiro asked how, Nambuko confessed that he was the one who shot an enchanted arrow at his father when he tried to capture Dagonzot, because Nambuko had acquired an ancient item called the Dragon Blood Crystal. He was able to survive the soul-devouring flames of Dagonzot, while Hiro's parents and all the other mages burned to death. Ever since then, Nambuko had been waiting patiently to experience such beautiful chaos once again. But Hiro said that he was batshit crazy because Dagonzot had consumed the souls of countless humans. He tried attacking him again, but Nambuko smacked his sword away, saying that he wasn't going to kill him because he needed his heart in order to summon Dagonzot out of his lair. Back at the Mort Desert, Jiru and the others looked around for Hiro, but when they used the seashell telephone to try and locate him, they heard Serato calling out for him instead. Following the sound of her voice, the gang found Serato smacking her wand on a metal projection, and Palupa wondered if all of the heat had finally made her go crazy. But Jiru said that she was most likely trying to summon something with the noise, and at that moment, a huge dragon descended from the sky and swallowed Serato up. Jiru rushed forward to attack the beast, but then the dragon opened up his mouth for him as well. And Serato said that the nice creature had offered to carry all of them to meet Nambuko. When they got to his HQ, Tomet said that the place looked like a haunted house. So Eren said that it used to belong to a demon lord known as Gyrokias, who was defeated by the brave warrior Dalhobart. She suspected that Nambuko had turned the place into his castle because he wanted to use the magical power that was stored inside. But just as they were talking, an arrow was shot which stabbed their dragon on its wing. They managed to land on a safe place before the dragon crashed down, and while they were thinking of a way to enter the castle without getting seen, Dr. Lapa suddenly arrived looking for Serato. He teleported her away using a magical door, so Juru and the others used it as a means of getting inside the castle. But they were all surprised that a hideous clown like Dr. Lapa could actually give birth to Serato. However, Serato said that she was a magical doll created according to Nambuko's orders, and Palupa finally understood why she never ate her food and was always acting strange. Juru asked why she was created, and Dr. Lapa said that Nambuko wanted a battle robot made out of dragon blood crystal, which could still fight on the lands that were burned by Dagonzot's flames. Dr. Lapa had other plans though, and he made Serato to behave like a human girl rather than a weapon. But when Nambuko noticed this, he told him to get rid of her immediately. However, Serato was like a daughter that he never had, so Dr. Lapa helped her escape from the castle, and this was why she ended up meeting Hiro and the others. When Juru said that Hiro was carrying Dagonzot's heart, Dr. Lapa finally understood why Serato was so attracted to him, because she was made out of dragon blood crystal, and she didn't have a heart. Dr. Lapa told her to forget all about Hiro because Nambuko was about to commence his plan of summoning Dagonzot, and that he would most likely use her as a weapon to fight his enemies. But Serato started acting like a dumb teenage girl, and she told her dad that Hiro was the love of her life before running away to find him. So Dr. Lapa begged Juru and the others to take care of his daughter. They followed her to the place where Hiro was being held captive, and Serato said that Nambuko should take her and let him go. But he told her that it wasn't possible because he needed both of them for his grand plan. She moved closer to him and Shari punched Hiro in the gut before activating the magic portal to take them away. But when Juru tried stopping them, she got out of the portal and attacked him instead. Nambuko took them to Balvagoa, the place where all the mages had tried to defeat Dagonzot many years ago. And as the solar eclipse began, all the soldiers thought that the Dragon Lord had swallowed the sun. Shari told the others that Nambuko planned on using the magic inside his castle to fuse all of the soldiers' bodies with that of Dagonzot, so that he could create an even deadlier beast to control the entire continent. When the door of the castle closed, Nambuko's hologram appeared, telling them that the souls of all the people trapped inside would be turned into magic and used to help him create a dragon hybrid. Shari was waiting for Nambuko to take her to Balvagoa, but when the hologram ended without him showing up, she realized that he had tricked her into being part of the magical sacrifice. Everyone started to freak out, and Lapa said that the castle was designed to trap magic inside it, and so it was impossible to escape by using any form of magical items or techniques. However, it was just Dr. Lapa's figurine that was speaking to them at the castle, and the real Dr. Lapa arrived at Balvagoa to stop Nambuko from using Serato for his evil purposes. But Nambuko took the old man down with a wind strike from his staff, and he used a voice command spell to activate Serato's evil mode before supercharging her into an elite battle robot. He told her to beat Hiro to a pulp, and while Serato was kicking the losers at Juru and the others were trying to figure out a way to leave the castle, when Palupa remembered that they could just order a Mumu Uber, but Mumu said that she couldn't enter the castle because of magic restrictions, so Palupa told her to give them a weapon instead. And they all contributed lots of money to pay the greedy rabbit. She blasted a hole through the castle using her plasma cannon, and Shari teleported them to Balvagoa at the exact moment when Hiro was about to attack Serato using his dragon form. Serato used her robotic arms to hold him back in midair, and Shari still attacked Juru from behind despite the fact that Nambuko had tried to sacrifice her like a useless sheep. Hiro kept trying to slash her with his claws, but Serato blocked all of his attacks so easily, and she started smashing him on the ground while Nambuko watched and enjoyed the show. Juru tried to help, but he was occupied with Shari. And when Serato tried to stab Hiro in the eye with her blades, Dagonzot suddenly appeared and smacked her away with his tail. Everyone was terrified by the Dragon Lord, but Nambuko was excited and he activated the machine that would merge Dagonzot's body with that of all the soldiers who were present at Balvagoa. However, because he wanted all that power to himself, Nambuko used the Grand Troa to absorb Dagonzot's essence and merge with the beast, becoming an evil hybrid overlord. Dr. Lapa and the others were shocked by what Nambuko did. But when Hiro tried to attack him, Nambuko held him back with one hand and kicked his axe while he was in the sky. Hiro got beaten up so much that he started to see visions of his parents who told him not to give up. So he broke out of Nambuko's hold and landed back down like a true protagonist. But Nambuko punched him away so easily while Aaron and the others forced Dr. Lapa to tell them how they could stop the machine before Nambuko could burn everything back to the Stone Age. Nambuko was about to unleash Hell's Inferno on Hiro, when Juru and the others reversed the spell on the magical reactor and removed the Grand Troa to make him powerless. But they were too late because Nambuko had already merged with Dagon Zot, making him an immortal being, and he destroyed the entire place with his soul-devouring flames. However, Serato had used her divine wings to protect Hiro, but when Nambuko saw this, he stabbed her back and pulled out the dragon blood crystal that was keeping her alive. Seeing that the love of his life was dead, Hiro got up and sliced off Nambuko's arm with his sword. And while he was shocked that anyone could actually harm his new body, Hiro walked back and finished him off with a blinding light sword combo. Now that Nambuko was defeated, Dagon Zot appeared once again for the final showdown, and Hiro wondered if he was strong enough to actually defeat the creature that killed his parents. But when he recalled his training with Master Theo, Hiro collected the Grand Troa from Tomet and used it to make a visible Koku blade before dashing forward to stab Dagon Zot on his scar. Hiro took his heart out from the Dragon Lord's chest, but instead of switching it with the one he already had, he went down and placed the heart inside Serato to turn her into an actual human girl. As Serato slowly came back to life, Dagon Zot's body began to fade away because he no longer had a heart. And while Juru was still shocked by what Hiro had done, Palupa and the others began to fight over who should keep the Grand Troa. However, the morons let the crystal smash on the ground, and Juru said that the item wasn't even the Grand Troa but the Soul Stone which Hiro's father had used to trap Dagon Zot many years ago. Palupa then asked him how Hiro was able to harness such power to stab the Dragon Lord, and Juru told them what Master Theo had said about Hiro, that he was a magical prodigy just like his father. Eren and Tomet teased Hiro for behaving like Prince Charming. But when Serato asked them about her father, Palupa gave her the remains of his walking stick, saying that he had died in the flames that Nambuko unleashed. Serato cried when she heard the bad news, but Juru noticed that the soldiers were leaving. So Eren said that she used her phone to tell them the truth about how Nambuko had tricked them into fighting each other. Nomu came back to teleport them away, and after they had buried Dr. Lapa, Hiro gave Tomet his royal badge, saying that he was the youngest, but also the bravest one out of all of them. Juru asked him what he wanted to do now that he had unlocked his magical powers, but Hiro said that nothing has changed, because all he needed for a great adventure were his sword and his friends.